What is up, party people's birds of a feather? It's a solemn day. It's a sorrowous day, depending on where you're at. If you're in Tampa Bay, you're happy. If your team is one of the final Elite Eight, you're happy. But as far as the Eagles fan, in this area, it's a little bit of a doom and gloom. Weather's bad, temperature in the single digits, and it's really the temperature of this team. Where do they go from here? It's your boy Pete, OGP for short. We got Chucks over here, Jake down there, PY over there. That's the first one I got it all right. Birds of a Feather brought to you by A2D, sponsored by Allen's Travel, specializing in creating a vacation of your dreams at Disney, Universal, wherever your heart calls to you. Let the talented team of travel experts create a custom vacation just for you. We're going to jump right into it. And tonight's kickoff statement is, it's to be expected, but it's going to be a great debate. Nick Sirianni will be fired. Agree or disagree? I am going to go with PY. Lead us off tonight.
So it's the most discussed question on the internet and probably in Eagles Nation right now is, will Nick Sirianni be fired? So I'm at the standpoint where I think he should be. After watching what I watched last night, watching Hurts and Goddard on the sideline, all the blitzes where there's nothing but room in the middle of the field and there's just no one there just because for whatever reason they know for a fact that they were going to be blitzed all night long and the coaching plan was nothing. He should be fired. Brian Johnson should be fired. Like it's a mess. And I see a lot of people being like, "Oh, we got to get rid of Hurts." And I'm just like, if you think that Jalen Hurts was the biggest issue this year, despite the fact that he played at a top 10 level this year with all the issues that this team had offensively, I don't know what to tell you. But will Nick Sirianni be fired? No. There's the only caveat, I think, it's like Doug in 2020. Everything was a mess. Carson sucked. The line wasn't great. The offensive weapon wasn't there. Carson lost his brain. Like, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Like, he wasn't going to get fired at 4-12. Or it's 4-12-1. The only reason he got fired because he said with his chest, it's either Press Taylor stays with me or I'm out. And Jeffrey was just like, see ya. Like, that's literally where it's at. The only way I think Sirianni gets fired is because Lurie is going to talk with Hurts and he's going to get his assessment of the situation. If he gets the understanding that Hurts does not feel comfortable working with Sirianni and Brian Johnson, Sirianni's not going to be here. If Sirianni refuses to give up control to player personnel in terms of like picking his own coaches and stuff like that, kind of like Doug did, he's out. Like, unless those things all come together, Nick is probably staying here. Whether he should or shouldn't, that's probably what's going to happen. I actually would like him to be fired. I can't believe I'm finally at this point. But, they broke me last night. So, do I think he's going to be fired? No.
I'll go next. The more I lean into this being a little bit less than 24 hours removed from the actual end result and being in this pool of not being happy with Sirianni and his results, I got a sneaky feeling he won't be fired. He should be fired. But to the kickoff statement, will he be fired? I think not. But I definitely think it's still 60-40. And the reason I say that is because if it was just the defense, if you just made the wrong move and you gave Desai a short leash, or if the call came from upstairs down to you to make that switch, all right, maybe you got to leg to stand on because the offense will still keep doing what it's doing. But once again, since 2021, here's the biggest thing. Since 2021, you haven't had an answer for the Philly Blitz. Jalen can't throw it over the middle where it's wide open because there's no routes built into that. He can't check to anything because that's not in the concept of the scheme. I don't know what Sirianni does well. I don't know what he brings to the table, right? So when you sit here and you hear Jeffrey Lurie say, I'm happy with the coach that you are, and I'm happy that the coach you can become. And PY just hit the nail on the head when he talked about Doug Peterson. When Doug Peterson, the only coach that brought this organization a Super Bowl, tried to stand on his own 2 feet and put his foot down, mutually parted ways. That's how they try to spin it, right? I don't want the stench around my team, but Jeffrey Lurie, he has to get to a point where if he still wants to kind of meddle in this and still wants to have that stroke with the personnel, then I think he'll be here. I don't want him here. I don't. With the coaching candidates are in this cycle from what we've seen with Sirianni, not being able to figure it out with his offense for the past 3 seasons. And it's different than what they had in 2020 with Doug Peterson. This team is loaded on the offensive side. Now you're potentially losing Jason Kelce. You have so much more to work with, and yet you have a Maserati, but you drive it like it's a 2002 Toyota Matrix. And it's singly the same thing. It's like you're watching a rerun. You're stuck in a time loop. Blitz. No one over the middle. You see what I'm saying? I'm with you, Tom. Tom says I'll take Vrabel yesterday. I've said this from the beginning. I said Vrabel and EB. Vrabel and some type of young OC somewhere. Mm-hmm. I think this team and this culture and this city is ready for a defensive-minded coach. I truly, truly believe that. But here's the thing. What we may not get it is because our owner and our GM are trying to be the next innovative offensive. I get that. But that's why you let that guy run that offense. And he don't have to be the head coach. He don't have to worry about all the other BS, all the meetings and all that. No, get a defensive coach who can set the tone and go from there. But I hope – I don't want to see another man lose his job. I really don't. But he should be fired because how much have we been hearing, hey, this offense is me. It's on me. It's on me. You put so much of this on yourself, right, that we can't blame nobody else. And here's the thing. Coordinators this, coordinator that. I don't think it's Brian Johnson either. You've seen Shane Steichen have success and do things differently in his spot. Mm-hmm. You've seen Jonathan Gannon have success and do things differently in his spot. I know we're not talking about the defense right now, but I don't think it's Brian Johnson. I don't know how much because Nick installs the game plan. I don't know how comfortable Brian Johnson feels speaking up for himself and trying to implement these things. But I will tell you this. I know that Brian Johnson and Jalen Hurts have been friends and he's been a friend of the family ever since Jalen was born. So if you have that, that's a hard bond to break. And listen, you can say Sirianni this, he don't deserve it, 34-15. I'll sit here and say whatever it is. I think they want to spite him with that record for the past 3 years that he's been here. But you ain't paying Nick Sirianni $250 million. You know what I mean? You don't have him on the hook for that. When you have other people who are far from the game, who play the game but have been far removed from the game, all saying the same thing. Jay Gruden coming out, RG3 coming out. We've heard Darren Orlovsky say it. We've heard Shane Haff say it. We heard Ben Slolak. Baldy. Brett Coleman said. We've heard like what they're asking Jalen to do and what he has to work with. And he's still almost threw for 4,000 yards. Granted, he didn't play well, but listen, how hard is it to perform? Like I played on a national all-star level for Little League Baseball. We went up against a team that was loaded. I balled my ass off. I went 5 for 5. I was only 5 hits on the team. Right? Coach, manager, complete dog shit. When you have that, he can't elevate shit when it comes to a play call. He can't do it. Going into a game where you don't have your number one wide receiver, you don't have your middle finger on your throwing hand, yet let's run it only 15 times throughout the game. That game last night was there to be had, and Nick Sirianni, for whatever reason, in game, couldn't get out of his own big-headed way. The dude looked like he had served 2 terms in the Oval Office because he looked a lot younger when he started. Now he like a stressed, weathered old man. You see what I'm saying? Jeffrey Lurie, take him out of his misery, yo. Take him out of his misery. Put him out of his misery. He ain't built for this. And I will say this. If he's not fired, but if he it is what it is, it's going to be rough. But if he is fired, I'll be hard-pressed to see Nick Sirianni get another head coaching job. Because not only because of what he's put on tape and his refusal to get better, but also how he acted and the bridges that he's burned.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
along the way. I'd be hard pressed to see, and that's where you know if you have something, because if there's another GM out there, there's another head coach out there that sees something in him that Howie and Jeff ain't seeing, then you can get another opportunity. Remember, these jobs are only 1 of 32.
Yep.
So treat it like that. Treat it preciously. You should cherish that. And I don't think he did. He got too much in his own way, feeling himself, and no, just put him out of his misery, bro. So
you know how out of pocket you got to be for Jay Gruden, of all people, to talk about a coaching malfeasance with a young athletic quarterback who can run and throw on the run.
That was like
to
the tweet
point
that, like,
where even RG3 was like, "What?"
Yeah, it's a wild tweet.
100% accurate tweet, but wild.
Oh, wild! Regardless,
it's frustrating. Like, and I've been here. I've been here for 6 or 7 weeks. So I'm not shocked by what I saw last night. Almost to the point where they almost got me, because in that third quarter, Tampa Bay would drive it into our direction, and the defensive line would come alive and get a sack. And then we couldn't do nothing else with it.
You had two straight possessions where you got the ball in good field position because of the defense saving your bacon, and they didn't do anything with it. It's one thing if the defense is killing you. Like, all right, cool. The offense can't get it going because they can't get on the field because of the defense. The defense gave them chances last night. I just don't understand how there's just no play calling designed to help your quarterback. Your quarterback has a messed up hand. Where are the bootlegs? Where are the play actions? Like, where are the rollouts? Where is playing understanding? Where are the runs, like, in general? Like, I said this last night. I said get ready for six DeAndre Swift runs in the first half, and then like 3 or 4 like towards the end when the game is out of reach, and it's like basically what you got.
Yeah. And like this comment, Don right here, he says, I'll pull it up here. He says Mike Evans and Chris Godwin didn't even do shit.
Nope.
They really
had that
didn't
rookie
do nothing.
tight end killing us all game.
No, they didn't do anything. So, and to the people saying that Jalen can make adjustments, what I'm saying to you is the adjustments he needs to make, he would literally have to get in the huddle, go to a knee, and draw shit in the sand to draw a slant across the middle. There's no vertical hot routes when he sees it in the blitz. Everybody talks about the check he made in the Seahawks game. That check he made in the Seahawks game, that was a vertical. That was a vertical. That was a go route. You see, we're talking about doing any deep crosser, anything across the middle of the field. That's not within the scheme of the play design. That's not just me saying that. You can go to Twitter and find anybody saying that.
Yeah, just the middle of the field wide open, and even they keep saying it. It's 4 verts every time, like you're a goddamn Madden player.
Yeah, let's finish. Let's finish because we have a lot to say about Hurts, because I know there's a lot of comments I'll get back to blaming Hurts. So we'll get into that, but let's finish the poll question or the kickoff statement first. So Jake, what do you say?
Yeah, I don't know how you can justify bringing him back, and I know we saw the report from Jeff McClain earlier talk about how they'll have exit interviews tomorrow. Sirianni will meet with the coaches and some of the players and whatever, and then eventually he'll meet with Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman. Indications are that Sirianni isn't going to be fired, but I mean, we'll see. Jeffrey Lurie hasn't made an official decision yet, so we'll see. But I just don't know how you can justify, I have to preface this. Jeffrey Lurie's not an idiot. Jeffrey Lurie knows what's going on. He hears everything, especially the fact that this game was nationally televised. You heard it everywhere. It's not just local media saying it. It's nationally. Like, it's nationally known. They're like, oh, Nick Sirianni lost the locker room or whatever. But it's just, and Martian, I agree with you. Jeff McClain is clickbait, but that's the only report right there. But I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's fact or fiction, but it's what we got for the time being. But as an owner, I don't know how you can justify to your fan base that you're going to bring him back, even if you make changes on the defensive coordinator and the rest of the coaching tree. I don't know how you can justify it. And I don't know if the players are bought in. If the players aren't bought in with the head coach, then what are we doing? You're just throwing away next year. So you bring Nick Sirianni back, you struggle. Let's say we go 0-4, you fire him in the middle of the season, and then next season you're washing them. Where are you?
I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah, and Pete, you mentioned this in our group chat the other day. It was either the other day or yesterday. The coaching, like the available coaches that are available right now, you might not get that anytime soon. Yep. So if you're going to make a move, you have to do it quick. So either after the meetings tomorrow or at least by Thursday. Because Belichick's already getting interviews and coaches are already starting to interview. So you got to move. You got to move quick. So if you're going to make a decision, just all that I ask from Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, just make it quick. Just make it quick.
Yep.
Make it quick and painless, man.
Yep.
Go ahead, Chucks.
So I will say this to start it off that Pete, I know we gave you flack several weeks ago. So I'm going to give you your flowers because that I'm going to still disagree to the poll. I don't think he will be fired. But where it was at like 99%, where I'm sure he wasn't going to be fired, it's now I'd say down to like 60 or 70% where I think he won't be fired. So it has drastically become more likely. You guys mentioned the report, so I'm not going to rehash that. We don't know what's going on. I think you can make an honest argument for either side. You can use what Jeffrey Lurie has done in the past to both support the argument that he will be fired and support the argument that he won't. Okay, so and I understand both sides. I don't think either side is wrong. It's really tough to say. The fact of the matter is, this is unprecedented. The situation is unprecedented. Right. So we can't fully translate and compare past situations and say it's one of one with each other. It's an unprecedented situation. It's the biggest collapse in franchise history. So we don't know what's going to happen. I will predict that he stays because I think that's a level-headed move that Jeffrey. He doesn't want to doesn't want to make sure. Jeffrey doesn't want to make an irrational decision, okay, and overreact. However, should he be fired? I have crossed over to the threshold of I think he should, because I don't think you can get back from this. And the fact of the matter is, and how many times have I said this, guys? I reached the point of this isn't getting fixed after which game? You answer it for me. Which game did they say after what?
Seahawks game, right?
Seahawks game, right? That was the game where I was like, if it's not getting fixed by now, nothing is changing. Okay, right. So the fact that he hasn't, there's not even in a little bit. This offense hasn't changed. Every week it comes to the kickoff time, and we are all hoping as fans, like, come on, maybe there's hope there's something will change, but nothing has changed. Nothing. There's no. They stick by. I tweeted this out yesterday during the game. I was like, I'd love to be a fly in the wall during the meetings to discuss what they can do to beat the blitz, because I don't know what those conversations are. Like, what conversations are happening in these meetings about how you can solve it? I don't. It boggles my mind that they think that vertical routes, stop routes, and everything like that are going to be the answers to solve it. It's not. I don't get it. I do not understand how that can be your legitimate solution. So, like, the fact that it's gotten this bad and there's not been 1 ounce of change. The only change that I've seen is, okay, let's sprinkle in some more pistol runs. Let's do that. That'll get it going, which is good. But that's your answer to everything. Like, that's supposed to solve the whole offense. Like, I don't understand, and I think that the fact that it's an epic collapse, it makes me think, like, I don't know how you can get back to it, and I wonder, like, with Sirianni always being in charge of the offense, can we ever get a true offensive scheme that's going to help these players? I don't think so. I don't think we are. So I think he should, but I don't think he will be fired. That's my stance. Let's see what happens and unfolds the next few days. on the following week. But like there's a lot of stuff going on in the chat. I want to bring back a few comments. One real quick about I saw this one earlier on, and I have to again just for the millionth time. Rashad Penny would have had more than 34 rushing yards if they used him. No, did you not see the Week 18 game against the Giants? If you think that version of Rashad Penny is going to miraculously run for a ton of yards, you need to watch again. Like, can we please just stop with the Rashad Penny stuff? I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired of people thinking this is Rashad Penny alone. So, that being said, Martian Lynch says it's Jalen. That's why Brian is getting interviews. If you watch the tape, he is not seeing the field. And then Tom also says, and he's been saying, that like let's not let Jalen off the hook. All right? So there's a lot of stuff in the comments going on. So keep it going, guys. But like this is a hot topic, okay? And I want to say this first that I do. When you have an epic collapse of this proportion, everyone is to blame. Mm-hmm. Maybe like the only person that's not to blame is freaking Jake Elliott, okay? Because Jake Elliott, like he did everything, so maybe he's the only one not to blame. But everyone is to blame when this is you have an epic collapse like this. Everyone has their share of failures. Jalen Hurts is not excused of any blame. He regressed this year, regardless of coaching. He absolutely regressed. Yep. He's going back to habits of bailing clean pockets way too early. He's doing it way too often. And there are times where he has tunnel vision, especially with A.J. Brown on the field. He'll target A.J. Brown to a fault to where he's not looking in the other directions, any other direction to other receivers, even though they're open. Absolutely. Like, that is an issue he has to fix. I totally agree. You want to criticize him for that. I am right there with you, and I have no problem pointing that out. Where people lose me is when they start getting off and acting like he is the biggest issue for this offense. Right. That's where people lose me. And people saying that, they're starting to regret giving him that contract and having second thoughts about him being a franchise quarterback. No. Like, I don't understand how you can, and Martian said, like, somewhere here, if you look at the tape, it's, if you look at the tape, then you can see that Jalen is not seeing the field. He's not seeing the field, but if also you look at the tape, you can see, again, Pete, you brought up all the names that have said it. Dan Orlovsky, Brian Baldinger, Jay Gruden, Troy Aikman on the broadcast, Mina Kimes, Brett Coleman. I can go on and on. All these analysts that are very credible, and former coaches. Like, all of these guys, they all see it too. If you don't believe me, and yes, everyone knows I watch a tape, blah, blah, blah. But if you look at the scheme of this offense, they are not building hot routes in. The first analyst that I followed that brought this to my attention was JT O'Sullivan of QB School. Like, probably the best private media person in football when it comes to football. His YouTube channel is phenomenal. So I learned so much from him. Okay, former QB, amazing stuff. He brought it up last year how there's no built-in hot routes into this offense. Our favorite mysterious Twitter football Twitter account, Honest NFL. He constantly says it. He says this is high school football stuff that these coaches are not implementing into the system. It's malpractice. It's negligence. Like, how are you not building in hot routes into the system? And no, it is not Jalen's fault. If there are no checks to make it, because when you make a check, you're not in the huddle. You are at the line of scrimmage. You are scanning the defense. So if there's no built-in checks into the system, how are you going to have him communicate to the guys? You're going to have him yell over to the receivers like, hey, guys, run a slant. Run a slant here. That's the check. Like, that's not how it works. Like, that it's not built into the system. So it's not Jalen's fault. There's nothing there.
Before you continue, what I will say, I'm seeing some things in the chat. I think this is a year where Jalen has to, and before this, he struggled at Alabama. Then he found Lincoln Riley. Then he had Shane Steichen here. He had Doug Peterson here. Things became easier for him. I think this year, halfway through the season, at some point, when it started becoming difficult, he lost that factor where he has to then try to rise above the system. And he has to look inward at that part, and he has to do that. Okay, well, if they're not going to do it, then I have to force it. Maybe I have to build some things. And I saw somebody say they can run a drag route. You can go back to the stats. I don't know if you can look at how many drag routes they ran all year if they ran one. They are the worst team over the middle of the field. They don't do it. It's not built into the scheme, but that doesn't take the blame off of Jalen sometimes of the things he tried to force the issue. Mm-hmm. It's a culmination of everything, right? And it's almost like, say, for right now, it's just like any other regular company. You have a regular employee, assistant supervisor, manager, then you have a director, right? So sometimes when you get on that upward ladder, who you get to replace you at the spot you were in before means something. So just from the aspect of promoting Brian Johnson, not having Brian Johnson in the QB room every day, and not having Shane Steichen, who was vocal with Jalen. A lot of times last year, when you look to the sideline, who was talking to Jalen, it was Shane Steichen. Mm-hmm. He went to Jalen. He made sure he coached him hard. When you can't replicate that, it's difficult. So now, but I say that to say this once again. Where do we go from here? Because I don't know what Sirianni brings to the table at this point. Mm-hmm. And that's where it lies in my issue. Because if Brian Johnson had all this, and we're talking about replacing a coordinator, and that dude get a job in 2 weeks, possibly as a head coach, who does that look bad on? Does that look bad on him, or does that look bad on Sirianni? Mm-hmm. There's a deeper issue here, and it may start at the top, to where they just don't let people do their jobs without their say. It's cool to have the interview process, the vetting process. It's cool to have Big Dom do all that. But then once you make that decision to hire that person, let that person do their job. Let that person do their job. And from this aspect, no one saw this coming. There's no way in the world you would see the fall from grace this fast. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's one of those things where Sirianni and all the coaches just got caught deer in the headlights because they couldn't believe they was in this situation. They couldn't believe they was in this position. I honestly, who don't care whose decision it was to move on from Desai to replace him with Patricia, but that single-handedly was probably one of the worst reasons, if not the worst decision, anything the offense could have did. Because you look at what Desai was working with, you knew he wasn't working with a full deck to begin with. All the players we lost from last year's defense, but look at the teams he played against and the offenses he played against, and he made us look at least respectable. At least respectable. To where now with Patricia, it's just like, bro, who's done it? It's like, know your KYP, know your personnel. You asking these dudes to do things that they just can't do, right? It's just it's a cluster F, man. How you got here, and I don't know how the collapse is so bad. Like you said, Chucks, I don't know how you get back here with the same people in the building outside of Stoutland and also outside of Michael Clay. He deserved to keep his job as well.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah. He did a good job. An improved room from top to bottom.
Yeah.
Bro, it's crazy.
When people keep talking about like, oh, this is what I see on tape. I'm like, that's a great idea. Let's talk about that. You know what I see on tape? Middle of the field open. No corner routes, no drag routes, no curls. You know what? I see? I see players running into each other.
All they run is curls.
Yeah,
almost all they run is curls.
I see everyone running into each other because AJ Brown and Dallas Goedert are running into each other because of the formation of the scheme that he's put together. I see Julio Jones get targeted 50 million times in the screen game for whatever reason. Like I see DeAndre Swift not getting the ball in the red zone despite being one of the better red zone running backs when he gets the ball. Like I see all of these things. Like if it's not a vertical or it's not a go route, there's nothing. Like you can get mad at Jalen for forcing things. That's understandable. You can get mad at Jalen for fumbling. That's inexcusable. He needed to clear those things up this year. But with all the issues that this offense faced this year, and there was a lot. Every statistic you look at, he was a top 10 quarterback. The fact that he was able to do that with all the issues that we're discussing right now is stupendous. Yep. Like, if there's one thing that you should take away from this season, it shouldn't be we have a problem with Jalen Hurts. No, Jalen Hurts is not the problem. He wasn't perfect this year, but he was not a problem. Like
He
you
wasn't
should
a
feel
solution
very
either, but it's
comfortable
bigger.
No, he wasn't.
next season heading in with Jalen Hurts because there are enough good things that you can look at that he's done this year that you feel comfortable next year. There's some things that can be better. There's things he needs to clean up. There are mental errors he needs to look at, and a lot of things of that nature. But if your number one talking point is, well, man, I'm really regretting that $250 check, $50 million check we cut.
Well, it's the lazy narrative. It's the quick and easy lazy narrative. It's the first person you look at. It's the first person you see when you see the Eagles logo. But I'm not going to make excuses for Jalen, but you also have to add a little bit of context into it too. We don't know how bad that knee injury is.
Right.
Because we didn't see Jalen. Like at times you saw it. At times you saw him running around like, okay, there's Jalen from last year. There's Jalen from last year. But for the majority of the season, that wasn't really part of his game this year. And I think to like how the scheme is and everything like that, like there's a lot of out of characteristic plays compared to Jalen from last year. I think a lot of it was him trying to put it on his back himself and try and do better despite the scheme, if that makes sense. And which is in turn what we saw with like all the turnovers and stuff like that, because he's trying to
hero ball.
make
He
big
tried to go
plays.
full Wentz.
Right. So it's just, I understand Jalen didn't play well, and I completely agree with everybody. I totally agree. He didn't play on the same level he did last year, but I'm not going to crucify the guy in saying we made a mistake. Not yet.
One
Now,
one of my favorite. Sorry, go. I didn't mean. I thought you were.
Yeah, but I was just going to finish with now. If he plays poorly again next year with new coordinators, like a new offensive scheme, like just with more creativity, and he's still struggling, then we have a problem.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Chucks.
No, like one of my favorite, analytical stats, and you guys know I'm not huge on analytics, but they're useful when you add in context. But one of my favorite analytics stats that is out there, there's a chart that shows quarterbacks where they are compared to their completion percentage over expectation. So it factors out like drops and everything, and it cross analyzes it with the route separation of their receivers. And Jalen Hurts is in like a league of his own on that chart, where his completion percentage over expectation is really high compared to everyone else, but his receivers are getting the least amount of separation. Yep. So what does that tell you? He's completing an absurd amount of passes to tight windows and making tough throws when there's the receivers aren't getting open. That's what that stat is telling you. And who's on the other end of the spectrum? Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy in a system where the receivers are constantly getting open, he's hitting them. And like it boggles my mind that you can see, if you know what you're looking at from X's O standpoint and in film, it boggles my mind that people are going to put Jalen Hurts as number one as the main person. Like I just like, again, you can criticize him, but if you think coaching isn't the main issue and it's Jalen, I honestly just don't have time like argue with yourself, because I don't have the energy nor the time to explain how that's such an incorrect take. I just it boggles my mind. It just boggles my mind, and like it infuriates me sometimes, but then also makes me realize that like, hey, like not everyone knows what they're looking at. To be frank, but like that's the truth. That's the truth. And real quick, I want to put this to bed. The second round exit said, yeah, because week 18 against the Giants is an indication of Penny's talent. And he also says, if Sounds group actually created space, Penny would have been great. Penny is amazing when he gets blocks the second level. No one has acceleration.
He's not good anymore.
He was so good.
It wasn't just week 18. We saw him in preseason. We saw him in a few games. Compare that to what you've seen from Penny before. He is not the same. He's like, I don't know how many times I got to say this. He is not the same running back. He doesn't have that acceleration. Like, if you honestly looked at his carries this year and you can honestly tell me that he has the same acceleration, then I don't know what you're looking at. So like, it's ad nauseum. I'm talking about this. Like, people think that Penny is freaking Derrick Henry right now and that we haven't been using him. Like, stop. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. Chris Glover does ask, time to trade AJ Brown.
I don't get this
to get off
narrative.
the lead.
Like I don't understand how this became a narrative. Like why?
Well, it's because they may be unhappy you can sell high, but I don't think it's time.
No.
I want to get to this too. So real quick, Keys has a couple of comments in here. Listen, if you go back and you look what Jordan Love did, you go look at what CJ Stroud did with less talent on the offensive side of the ball, you would realize coaching is everything. If you want to criticize Jalen for the things he did in the tournaments he had, cool. But don't act like he's working within the same system that Ben Slowick is running in Houston and Matt LaFleur is running in Green Bay. It's not the same. And it can make it easier for a QB to work and operate. So when you are sitting there looking like it's struggling tooth and nail, hell, you can go look at what Dave Canales, the OC for Tampa Bay Bucks last night. Look at how many outside of the defense he was running. Just getting people open in the system made it work. You want to criticize Jalen because he's your quarterback of your favorite team. Cool. But let's put it in perspective where you can look around teams in the other around the league and other offenses. You can see how much easier and how much more creativity they have versus what Sirianni did. If you want to sit here and you want to say, all right, well, Sirianni bringing back us on Jalen. Sirianni, I'm going to get my cuss word out, was motherfucking 2-5 in 2021 when he called the plays. Yet you have an offensive coach who sees his team struggling on offense. We hearing it press conference after press conference after press conference. It's on me. I got to do a better job. But you ain't hearing this dude really fall on the sword and say, listen, I'm going to call plays. He never once stepped up to do that. And now you're hearing they don't know who was calling the plays. Now you're hearing that 3rd and 14th play, Brian Johnson called a pass play. He wanted to check to a dumbass run. So what does this do? Does he not know does he not know left from right? Does he not know up from down? How is this dude one of 32 head coaches in this league? And right now, you mean to tell me you would everybody in the chat right now, put it to the test. If you can move on for Sirianni and hire any other coach in the league, or matter of fact, where do you rank Sirianni as a head coach the last 3 years? Put it in the chat. If you want to lay it down for Sirianni like that, I want to see it in the chat. Because listen, I'm gonna tell you what they ain't gonna motherfucking do. That's another one. I'm sorry. You just paid Jalen Hurts $250 million. He ain't going nowhere.
No. Nope.
That should do for at least the next 2 years. So you can sit here, cry, pussycat, or do whatever you want and say he did this, he did that. It's more important to get that dude right versus your head coach. And it's more important if you got to get that dude right versus your head coach. You got to be on board. The head coach that's going to come in here has to be on board with him. And I'm gonna tell you, you got to look at the relationships they had. And maybe this is a fault to Howie. He made it too friendly. All these Georgia players, instead of just getting the best player. Jalen Hurts is here. His best friend is here. AJ Brown, the godfather of his daughter. Devontae Smith is here, who was with him in Bama. Brian Johnson is here, who's known him since he was a kid. Maybe it's too much familiarity going around. And maybe Nick Sirianni just ain't the strong enough personality to kind of put all in the bud and separate business from pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's not him. It's dudes out there right now in that coaching cycle right now that's available that I have a better belief that can do that. Because all these other dudes ain't going nowhere. You got to follow where the money at. At the end of the day, for Jeffrey Lurie, he want to win, but this is also a business. He ain't not in the business of not making money. Obviously, it's the NFL. He's still going to make money. But like you said, it was national TV last night. It was the last game of the Super Wild Card weekend for all eyes to see. And that's what his product, that's what he believes in. That's what they put out there. You think that dude happy today?
Nope.
You think he's going to be happy tomorrow? Even if he going to be pissed if he got a fire coach. Now he got to put extra resources in his Florida house to have a whole coaching search. Some shit he never thought he would have to do back in August. Wake up, people. You have to realize, this was not in the cards.
But
this was not supposed to happen. They wasn't built for this.
Mm-hmm.
They was built for success. I've never seen chicken salad become chicken shit in 18 weeks faster than this team.
Yep. I just don't understand how anyone can be like, oh, we know you're defending Jalen, you're doing this. I'm like, if you're going to tell me with a straight face that you're watching the tape, you're clearly watching the wrong tape. Because if you looked at the tape with your eyes, without your blind hate on, and you're actually watching it instead of just watching highlights, you're going to see there's flaws, there's errors, there's mental stuff. The scheme is not working. There are no separations. Mike McDaniels get separation, having his guys do crossovers when they're running routes. Kyle Shanahan, guys, get open. Did you watch the Green Bay game? I couldn't be more open at a lesbian bar. Like, come on now. Like, I could not be more open if I tried. Like, I literally couldn't. Are you serious? Go out of your way to watch the tape. Like, come on now. Let's just be real. Like, you know what I find funniest? You know the funniest thing before Jake loses his ever loving mind over there?
Jesus Christ.
You know what my favorite thing is? So with Jalen, it's not his fault. It's his fault. It's not Sirianni's. But you know whose fault it's not? It's not Justin Herbert's fault. Mm-hmm. It's not Justin Herbert's fault in 4 years.
Go ahead, talk your talk.
In 4 years, it's not Justin Herbert's fault when he only has one playoff game, which he had a 27-point lead and he lost. But that's Brendan Staley's fault. Like, are you serious? Where's the mathing? Like, can we let's call a spade in a fair and honest fashion? Like this is just ridiculous.
Keys, like, bro, like, what are you saying? Do you want to move on from Jalen? Do you want to move on from Jalen?
It sounds like him and like Martian, like they want to move on from Jalen. All right, so they don't want to.
I wouldn't even put Martian in that. All I'm simply saying is I'm not
kind of fed up because like the way they're talking, like they want.
I'm not taking blame off of Jalen. Did he regress this year? Yes, he did. Does he have to get it together? Yes, he does. But I can go show you when the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Pittsburgh Steelers with Jake Brown as a quarterback. That offense looked like it was easier to run versus what they had. You have to be shitting me if you want to sit here and tell me C.J. Stroud can throw for almost 4,000 yards and the team with Nico Collins and Laramie Tunsil is his left tackle. I can't even name anybody else from the offense outside. If I really think about it, I probably could. But versus what we got, versus the bullets in our chamber, you mean to tell me it got to look that hard? So Jalen has
5 in the league.
Chuck just told you completion over expectation of the route system and the tight windows. Jalen Hurts was towards the top. It shows you that they not creating separation. Troy Aikman, a Cowboy, sat there and told you he hasn't seen any Eagles wide receiver last night. Less than 24 hours ago, we probably was in the third quarter running away from anybody. Yep. But Jalen has to be perfect.
Yeah,
come on,
there's how many? Okay, so what? Like if you look at all the times that they faced a blitz, which was a lot, and then if you really want. I was already planning to do this. I'll make a cut up of all the plays. Once the film comes out, all the plays that the Eagles offense face a blitz, and we'll see where are these routes going. Where are they going? There was maybe I think from my recollection, maybe one that stood out. One play where they ran a route in the middle of the field. They ran a slot against a blitz.
Exactly, Mr. Walsh.
Slant against a blitz, and
it was successful.
When it was successful, it was Devontae's route. So
how about the last? They ran that play a few weeks ago, and it was a touchdown.
And it was a touchdown. So you're telling me that there are examples of them running crossers and Jalen hitting those routes, but you're gonna say oh, Jalen can't hit them. That's why they're not running them. He's showing he can hit those routes. He's showing it. But
they ran that play.
They're there. But for some reason, a big play. Smitty gets a big play on a slant against a blitz, but the coaches don't go back to it. Like how is that? How is that on Hurts? I don't understand. Like Marshall wants to say no agenda radio. It sounds like you are the one that has an agenda, Marshall. You and Keys. Like it's unbelievable how much like you want like people out there have such an agenda against Hurts. They want to believe because I guess it's revisionist history. They didn't believe him in the first point like years ago. So now they still want to look for any excuse to not believe in them. Right? Like you weren't.
Yeah, they've been saving it for 2 years, man.
Now you're looking for any reason to not buy in again. Any question mark that comes up, it's like, oh well, we were right all along. He's a one year wonder. Like, I just boggles my mind. And if you don't believe me, okay, if I'm just a nobody, I'm just a fan that's talking on A2D radio every week, and I don't know anything, then go. If you want to go to Credible Guys, we already listed all the credible analysts out there, former players, guys in mainstream media, private media who know what they're talking about, that have said the same thing that we are. They're saying the same things we are, that it's a travesty that this scheme isn't doing more to help out the quarterback. So if you have an issue with us, go take it up with them. Go talk ball with them and see what they tell you. Go,
and that's all we're simply saying.
Them.
All we're simply saying is Jalen isn't perfect, but the scheme isn't helping him. I also agree with the fact that I see people saying the offensive line isn't as good as it was. Yes, Sam Allen played better than Jurgens. The offensive line is old. Hence why Jason Kelce just wrote off for the sunset. Lane Johnson said he's going to give it a couple more years. Maybe Landon Dickinson didn't have as good of his year. Mailata didn't play as good as he did this year versus last year. So this is where we're at. It's a whole combination of things. But if you really sitting here telling me, and this is where it goes down to brass tacks, and we're going to go to break and come back on the other side. If you're sitting here telling me you have more faith, Keys and Marshall, I'm talking to you, more faith in Nick versus Jalen, by all means, I don't know what you've been selling or what you've been buying, but you might be the only two. They both play like shit, but Jalen shit don't stink as much as Sirianni shit. That's just for me. That's for me. We'll be back on the other side. We'll get in some more. We'll wrap this up. We'll talk about it around the league. So, Chucks, go ahead and run the shit.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, proudly celebrating 40 years and our new, bigger showroom.
Twice the size and twice the fun.
More pool tables by Olhausen. More dartboard sets, including custom-reclaimed backboards. More bar and kitchen stools that can change a room.
And more bars, including pre-built and custom.
Hot tubs, skee ball, shuffleboard, outdoor,
and fun.
Royal Billiard and Recreation, your ultimate game room store. Now located on Bethlehem Pike in Colmar.
In our family, food is our daily bond. My nonna, affectionately called Mama by many, found solace and joy in the kitchen, sharing her love through delicious creations. She turned her culinary passion into a flourishing business alongside her husband and sons in 1983. Celebrating 40 years is a testament to our exceptional team, friends, family, and beloved customers. With gratitude, we look forward to the future, expanding our brand to share the highest quality Italian food and wine nationwide. Our heartfelt thanks to everyone who has played a part in our story. Grazie mille.
Hats.com is the premier destination for quality and fashion-forward hats and more, with designs for every style and trend. Locally based and run by Philly sports team fanatics, Hats.com can help you elevate your hat john. Utilize the easy-to-use guides at Hats.com to find your perfect size and style, and shipping and returns are free. Hats.com. Find yourself in a hat. Use code Philly for 15% off your order. Hats.com.
Shout out to all our sponsors, Carlino'sHats.com, Real Bears. Key says, who had faith? If he said he had faith in Sirianni, I don't know. You want to kill Hurts. All I'm sitting here saying is, and we'll move on. Michael Jordan ain't win shit until Phil Jackson came in with the triangle, brother.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. And I'm not comparing the two, but the scheme can help a quarterback. That's all I'm saying. And all I know is there's more on tape with Sirianni not being able to fix his issues and his weaknesses versus with Jalen. So it could be the two ugly girlfriends that you just choose the least ugly one, right? And Sirianni is the ugliest one in the room. That's all I'm saying. There's more tape showing Sirianni still has no answers from the blitz from the time he took the head coaching job. Here's the other thing, people. Listen, dog.
Can I just answer this real quick? He says, when a team blitzes and you have one-on-one on the outside, how come we can't execute the pass? You can't execute a pass if no one's open.
So,
okay, really, if no one's open, what do you want him to do? What do you want him to do? Just answer me. No one's open. What do you want him to do? Okay, so what do you want him to do?
If two guys are running on the outside, they're covered. One guy is turning to the right 5 yards, turns around, and he's covered. And there's nothing in the middle of the godforsaken field like you're parting the Red Sea, like you're fucking Moses. To where you could fit every single one of us in that area. How can you look at that as a head coach and be like, wow, they are leaving that part of the field wide open?
Why don't I run crossers?
I could hit a whole thing of golf balls, just like right there every time, even on time.
Troy Aikman said it in the middle of the broadcast. He's like, every single route these wide receivers are running against a blitz, They're all running straight. They're all running vertical. They're all running stops. There's nothing where they're running away from the defender and toward the middle of the field. There's nothing. Troy Aikman said it. Like this is there. Like often people online will say, "Oh, why do you have all 22 access available to fans? Like that's so stupid." Like this is a reason why you should make all 22 available to fans because the broadcast camera, people don't see shit downfield. So to someone like Keys, all 22 would be very, very helpful because you could see on film that when you look at the entire field and how the route is routes are being distributed, you can see that they're not running to the middle of the field and that no one's open. So please watch all 22. Expand your horizons beyond just the broadcast camera. Trust me, it'll make you a better fan. Trust.
So I'm not going to. Listen, Keys. I appreciate you rocking with us. I appreciate everybody that's chiming in. Hit that like, hit that subscribe if you're in here, you're enjoying yourself. I'm not going to keep giving the shining the light on you. All I'm going to say is no one sat here and said Jalen's out of fault. If you feel as if Jalen is Teflon Don, by all means, that's what you feel. More than happy you're joining us. That's completely wrong. I will tell you this. Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, when they go on the coaching search, they choose all these candidates and they want to find the one in the room that nobody knows about. Right? That would have been perfect if they hired the wrong person. Somewhere along the line, and this would have took balls to do it, if they had the hindsight, and this is where I sit here and say, oh, well, you just don't, like people saying, well, he deserves a chance to fix it. Why? Any other job, if you fuck up once or twice, or you mess up for 18 weeks at your job, you think you're gonna be employed? Nah, that's not how this works. They should have had the foresight to realize Shane Steichen was the right person for the job, brother. Them roles got flipped. Flipped.
You saying all I'm saying is Jalen Hurts ain't clean with this. Like we all premised this. All premised this before we got into this that yes, he has blame in this. So I don't know where all this stuff with you and Keys are going off. And like we said, yes, there are things to blame him for. Our point was he's not number one on the list to blame. He's not at the top. It's Sirianni. So you're going off completely. You and Keys going off in the chat about blame him. Like we get it, but we're just saying he's not the main one to blame. But you guys still won't let that go. Like there's nothing.
Prime example.
I haven't heard anything. I haven't heard anything about you guys blaming Sirianni. I haven't heard anything about that. So
prime example. Jared Goff was supposed to be shit.
Yeah.
Jared Goff got traded for Matt Stafford for a bag of peanuts, a former number 1 overall pick. People thought his career was over.
Yeah.
He got with Ben Johnson. Now look where they at. That's all I'm saying. Like it.
How's Joe Brady looking right now?
Pretty good.
All I'm saying, I can sit here and tell you right now, if you gave me a choice of any quarterback in the league, am I picking Jalen number 1, 2, or 3? Probably not.
No,
probably not.
No, I was gonna get into that. I was gonna ask that question later on in the segment. It should be fun, but yeah, it's no, okay. I wouldn't.
Key says Sirianni sucks as a coach. He's not. That's true. So that's why I said you saw chicken salad turn into chicken shit. It's bad play, bad coaching, bad scheme. What does those common denominators leave you? Bad. Color Me Bad, 1991 R&B group from people don't know this. They're from Oklahoma. Who would have thought? I never know. They're from Oklahoma. You would have thought it's from Vegas, Philly, some metropolitan city from freaking Oklahoma. So it's just we can sit here. I'm venting, but I'm venting from the fact of I really want to say this. I started to put credence into the fact, like, he doesn't have an answer to this. This had to be this. I think this was the Chiefs game. Like he just doesn't have an answer, and he refuses to have an answer. And then here's the thing: after the way he handled himself after that game, like you was on the field, you talking trash to the fans, like you played.
Right.
What yards did you gain? What tackles did you make?
Yeah.
It's see that kind of stuff. I'm okay with. As long as
you're winning, if
things are going bad, you better turn it around. And he's not. Right. He's like, you better be able to back it up. And like the fact, I don't mind the fact that they got their asses beat by San Fran and the Cowboys in Dallas because you're not going to win every game. And like they got humbled in those two games. I get it. They're not going to win every game. Those are really good teams, obviously. San Francisco are arguably the best team in the league. So it's not that he lost those games. It's the fact that beyond that, he's shown the stubbornness to fix and change things. That's what's the problem. That's the biggest problem. You're always, every single coach gets one up every once in a while. No one goes undefeated.
It happens all season long with every NFL coach.
Like no team, they're all going to. That's how the NFL works. Defenses figure you out, and you're going to have to evolve. But what did all four of us say in the preseason is that Sirianni has to make sure this offense evolves in order for this team to survive if they're going to make it to the Super Bowl again. He hasn't evolved. He hasn't.
And if he wants his offensive coordinator to take on a bigger role and put in more plays, then he should. If that miscommunication between him and Brian Johnson is there, that should have been solved in the off. That should have been solved in the preseason. That should have been solved in the first quarter of the year. That shouldn't have just been solved when shit start going left after the San Fran game. That should have been being solved. Like, why is it so tough for us to win these games? Like, why are we winning these games barely skating by? And that very well could be true. But who now do you go get at that point, right? Is that thought process, Coach Marcus, find him on Thursdays on the platform at 7 p.m. all the time. Rarely misses a show. If that's the case, where do we go from here?
Right.
Because we're not. Here's the craziest shit, right? To transition the conversation, so we're not even talking about losing some of the greatest Eagles that ever played for this team. We're not even talking about revamping the whole back seven.
Right.
We didn't spend an hour just talking about the dudes that got headsets and whistles. Headsets and whistles. Yeah, we could talk about James Bradbury, and I'm telling you right now, whatever corner they draft, if they draft Kool-Aid McKinstry out of Alabama,
please
don't get 24. Any quarterback in the Eagles
24
won't work.
That's like the bad. That is so between him and
Bradley Fletcher.
Yes, Bradley Fletcher.
Bradley Fletcher.
Yes, if you a DB for the Eagles, you wear 24, it ain't gonna work for you, fam.
Nope.
That's a running back number.
Namdi Asamoah, Bradley Fletcher, and now
I didn't even know Asamoah.
Really, Namdi was 24 too. Oh my god.
Now it makes sense. Now it all makes sense.
It all started with him, apparently.
Let's transition to the players, right? And then we'll get into the round of league and what we're looking forward to. We're getting to PWAS 5. We're gonna bring that back tonight. We didn't do it last week.
Yeah.
Where do we go? Like, is the defense the bigger concern? Because I also think it's some sneaky concerns on that offensive line now. If Jason, the only way I think Jason Kelce stays, honestly, the only way I think he stays, if they fire Nick and the new coach comes in, if it's a Vrabel or if it's possibly a Belichick, and they go to him and they say, "I need you."
Right.
Yep.
Can you give me one more ride?
I don't see it.
I think he's done. I think he's out.
But even so, that's the case. So you got to
replace
If
Kelce. Anything would need to happen, I think it would need to be Howie going straight to him. It's like, Jason, I love you.
Yeah, he just paid him $14 million, fully guaranteed.
I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. I think here's what it is. I think the only way Jason Kelce would come back is if his wife told him to.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That I don't mean that in a bad way. I think that Jason is at a point where he wants to be with his family. He's trying to do what's best for him and his family. And by all means, if that's what he wants to do, absolutely has every right, God-given right to do so. Absolutely. Right. I'm not trying to paint what was it Kylie? Kylie Kelce. I'm not trying to paint her bad light. She's amazing. She's awesome. What I'm trying to say is if Kylie gave Jason her blessing and said, "Hey, I don't agree with how you went out. You should go one more year." Yeah. If she was the one who did that and instigated that with Jason, that's the only hope I see. That is the only hope I see. And I get this. This is what I was getting at when I'm pretty sure we all watched the documentary Kelce, right? Like you see how battered his body is. You see how like he has to be on what's the meds like throughout the whole season to keep him going. I forget what it's called. To keep his muscles from inflaming. I forget what it's called, but like he's old and he's like and it's hard. It's a struggle for him. So that's the only way. That is the only way I can see him.
Bro, who been saying this shit? Jericho, this is the first time I see your name in the chat ever. Bro.
I do like that.
Dude, you gonna like it, but I've been saying that for the last 2 years.
No, I know. I like it though.
God, I don't know. This is not this. I'm not Kevin Durant. This is not my ghost account. This is not me. I do not have any devices in my hand. You can see my hand. God. Go get me a Marty Morningweg. Go get me a Jim Caldwell. Go get me somebody.
Marty Morningweg.
But anybody, somebody
who had him.
Somebody who don't want to be
who doesn't want to be a head coach anymore. Exactly. Yep.
Jim Caldwell.
I totally agree.
I love
Jim Caldwell.
I take Caldwell. Yeah.
This is why I said go get Vrabel and go get Eric Bieniemy, because Eric Bieniemy probably wants to be a head coach, but for whatever godforsaken reason, nobody will hire him as a head coach.
Yeah, it's weird.
Let me touch on that.
I need to reach out to some of my Commanders people that I'm friends with on Twitter, because I don't understand why he's not. So I need to speak to Commanders people that know that market and know the team better than I do, because like something has to be off. Like from an X's and O's standpoint, from what I know, he did a really good job. From an X and O standpoint, what I do not know is there an underlying thing going on in that organization where he wasn't up to par?
Probably the same thing that happened in Kansas City.
So I don't know, but yeah, it's very
single-handedly is the reason why we didn't win the Super Bowl, because that jet sweep shit that they was doing.
Yeah,
he found it.
Yeah.
So I keep seeing, because everyone has good ideas for head coaches, right? But I think one thing people are not taking into consideration, because everyone's like, you gotta go get Vrabel, you gotta go get trade for Mike Tomlin, you gotta go get Bill Belichick and all these players, all these guys, right? Name me the last Eagles head coach that wasn't a first-year head coach.
Exactly.
That's also the problem.
If they move on from Nick, this next hire is going to show you if Howie and Jeff, more really Jeff, wants the status quo, because they try to find that diamond in the rough. They trying to find that needle in the haystack because they hit it on with Andy. Andy is a one of a kind.
Right.
Doug too, but even Doug took a couple years back, and now he's back with Jacksonville, another team who had the second biggest collapse of the season. Right.
Yep.
So Doug,
third, second is the Cowboys.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
Doug, but I'm talking about in the regular season, because they lost 5 of the last 6 too.
Yep. Yeah.
So with Doug, it's kind of he's still learning his way, right? And then with Andy, that's the one where as soon as he got fired, I bet was on a flight from Philly to Kansas City. And been there ever since. Yeah. And he has found his way here, because he struggled year after year when teams were poaching his staff, Brad Childress, Leslie Frazier, and he kept finding he struggled with. He made Juan Castillo the defensive coordinator. Yep. He has something. Shit, I can't think his name right now. Buffalo Bills head coach Sean McDermott. He had something to him, but then he moved off of him early. So
McDermott was bad.
There is something to that, right? So even like Troy Aikman said last night, like you could be a first-year play caller, but there's an art to the play calling, right? And that's what they have to learn. Those growing pains. And maybe with Jeff and Howie, it's like, listen, I still sign. If I'm Jeff, I still sign your check. I say still go. I don't know what is in it for Jeff to feel like he has to be so involved after the hire. To where you have to, it's cool. You want to know your product, you want to know your business, right? I get all of that, but sometimes you got to take a step back. You said it perfectly. People are first-year head coaches, and he doesn't like retreads.
Yep.
But in this situation, here's the thing.
I looked it up.
But here's the other thing. The thing that's different about this, right? The thing that's different about this is your QB is already supplanted. Even when Andy left, it was okay. We didn't know if we were gonna have Mike Vick or Nick Foles. Yep. So you brought in Chip Kelly, right? With Doug Peterson, you bring in him. You didn't know if you had Sam Bradford or Carson Wentz.
Yep.
Right?
Correct.
So now you know you
Even
got
when
them.
Doug left, you didn't know
a
what
retread in this situation, because a lot of times when you're moving off coaches, you rebuilding. This ain't a rebuild.
No.
This is we need to win now. That's what.
Yes, you have a roster that you can win now. So go get yourself a guy that can do that and win now.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can't, like I keep saying, this is the name that keeps coming to mind. I think for as much as this city, as much as this area and this fan base, Jim Johnson this, Buddy Ryan that. Now you want to, I say appease your fans, but you want to appease your fans and hire a good head coach, go get Mike Vrabel, because that's a 2-for-1.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 2-for-1. You talk about the dude that
with AJ Brown too.
Was a DC in Houston, was the coach of the Tennessee Titans. He made a deep playoff run with Ryan Tannehill, for God's sakes.
They made it to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah. No, Vrabel, like I said before, like I am, to me, like there's too much talent on offense to where there's too much talent on offense for me to be like, hey, I need to make sure you get an offensive guru in here, whether it be head coach or offensive coordinator. Like I need that. Like I regardless, I still need that. So that's why I'm leaning toward offensive guys. But if you hire a defensive guy who is like a high-end CEO type, a culture setter, a leader like that, I'm all for it. So I'm all for like a guy like Brady. I'm absolutely down for it. So like, but that outside of that, like how many others? Like there's him. There's Tomlin if he's available, but there was a report that Tomlin said he's coming back, so like he's not going to be available. So like, how many of those are out there? I don't outside of Vrabel, I don't know. Like I don't think there is. So like I am looking for me like offense right now to me is number one priority, because you've got half the chat ready to trade Jalen Hurts away. Like you need to be
Brown now too. Apparently,
and AJ Brown away. Like you need to be.
It was one person that said AJ trade him. Don't embellish. We're not in the embellishing business.
But that's why I want to. My top candidate, my top choice would be Bobby Slowick. I told you guys. I want a Shanahan guy here. I want a Shanahan disciple here. So that's my top guy. But I'm open for others. There are definitely other guys.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. This is the other thing. You may get your wish, right? And this, the more I think about this, Vrabel may be it, because who was Vrabel's OC originally in Tennessee?
Arthur Smith.
No, before him.
Really? Who's?
Yeah. What the heck was his name?
He got a team playing this weekend.
I'm trying to think.
Wait, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Who was Vrabel's OC, who's now a head coach that has a team playing this weekend in Tennessee?
I have no idea.
The LaFleur? No.
It was LaFleur.
What?
Yes.
You sure?
Yes. I'm 95% positive. When he went and got him from Shanahan's tree. So he knows how to dip into that pocket. Obviously, there'll be some defensive curves to kind of change that. But Martian asked us if any thoughts on Bill.
We know.
I mean, like Phil Jackson can't come in and run a triangle anymore. You know what I mean? That shit just don't work. So I don't know. And especially if he hasn't proven that he can transition from that into a younger coaching mindset on the offensive side, he has his way. Do I think that this team would benefit from somebody like Bill? Yes. But at the same time, I mean, we be winning games 25, 28 to like 17, which could be good. He definitely will make the defense better. I can tell you that. People won't be missing that many damn tackles. And he will be getting every inch out of people that he can get talent-wise. I get that.
Yeah.
So
we got real quick. We got another one. We got Bill that also.
Bill! God damn it!
Two.
Here we go. All right, pull it up.
Listen. Here we go. I will tell you this. Listen. Don't get me wrong. I love AJ Brown, but I also say at the same time, we've been saying this. Devontae should be used in that same. He should be getting 9-10 catches a game.
Yeah,
it looked like when you look
he
up,
should be used like they use CD. Like it's not even a question.
The silver lining of last night's game is that Devontae Smith proved that he is a legitimate wide receiver one in this league.
He won a Heisman. He won a Heisman for Christ's sake. That doesn't happen.
Imagine you have a player like him.
But yeah, he proved it.
And you imagine having a player like Devontae Smith on your team, and he's underutilized.
Yeah,
and he was he was the only one that was amped and vocal about.
Yeah,
you saw him. Keys, here, I know this is what but we go into the same thing, right? You get him. My only question is, can he then build a staff that can be stable?
Yep.
That's the one thing with Sirianni. Sirianni built a great staff. He built it so good that it got poached, and he can't replace it. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing that's it's difficult, right? That's where you find in guys like that. It's a little bit different. It's different, and I honestly think that D'Amico Ryans right now, he just proved he should be coach of the year.
Yep.
Defensive minded coach, got an OC. And maybe Bobby could get a job this year. It may wait. I don't think. See, I think Slolik is because where he came from and being the pass game coordinator with the 49ers his first year, I think that jump may feel like it's too far. And also because he knows what they got in Houston right now is going to be popping.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the other thing,
too. A head coaching gig, I don't think he's going to turn that down.
Right, but it's not so much even he get it, but when you got a defensive-minded coach and you the OC and you really got 100% autonomy, you feel like you the fucking head coach anyway. Yeah, Don don't want that to happen. Even for Ben Johnson, like Dan Campbell's a tight ends coach, right? He's a culture setter. He's a tone setter. Him and his coordinators feel like they probably are head coaches because they get to run their units, and he just pops in every once in a while.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why John Harbaugh's so good. That's why Mike Tomlin is so good. I don't know what he saw in Matt Canada for 2 years, but he did what he did. Everybody makes mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying. Like with somebody like that, if you get a defensive-minded coach, the offensive coordinator is really like he is the offensive head coach because that's your baby. Mm-hmm. And if you get that and you can have that buffer, and Vrabel already knows how to deal with difficult ownership and people meddling because he did it in Tennessee. You see what I'm saying? He already knows how to do that buffer. So the offensive coordinator don't have to worry about it. The head coach is going to take that all. He's going to take all that for you. It's different, bro. It's different, man.
Yeah, and to Keys' point, like I don't think they deviate either. But if they do, then Howie and Jeff had a real long conversation about changing what goes on around here. Because if they do deviate and get a veteran head coach in here, something changed. They had a conversation and something changed. So
yeah,
we'll see. We'll see. I mean, meetings are tomorrow, so we'll see what happens.
Bro.
Congrats on going to the NFC Championship.
Where did Don, if you can chime in, where did Ben Johnson come from? Like, where was he like? Because he was he the original OC when Campbell got the job?
I believe he was.
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe he was. He was the offensive quality control coach for the Lions in 2019, promoted to tight ends coach in 2020. So he was there before Campbell was hired. And then when Campbell was hired, he was retained and promoted the year after. So after Campbell's first year, he was promoted to OC. So he's been with the Lions since 2019.
Now, let me ask you this question. Do you think there's anybody on the Eagles staff right now that predates Sirianni that has a track record like that?
No.
Nope. I don't think so.
No.
Bring back
Deuce.
Bring back Deuce.
God, no.
Yeah, we'll definitely run the ball.
Yeah, right.
CEO type, you want a leader and CEO type, a culture builder. Bring back Deuce. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah. Deuce for head coach. Deuce
like,
for
this is honestly a good question. Like, has there ever been a person that like the Eagles had in the building that they moved to offensive coordinator that's worked out for them?
No, it's all like
back to the Andy days. No, back to the Andy days, I believe.
I think Sean McDermott moved up within the organization.
Sean McDermott moved up.
I mean, early Andy. I mean, you had everybody on the fucking staff.
That's what I'm saying.
You had Gruden. You had everybody.
You had Gruden. You had
recently
Harbaugh.
Yeah, recently, nah. Like you haven't in the last 3 coaching hires. outside of
So
Statler.
why is it that every time we have a vacancy at the coordinator spots, fans always say, including us, we always say we want to hire within.
I don't. I'm the exact opposite. I never want to hire from within, because when you hire from, so companies do this a lot of time. So I've been doing the job interview thing, right? One of their big talking points whenever you go into this job interview, they're always like, well, why do you think we like to hire from within? Well, you know who you know, and you know you can trust them.
Right.
But guess what? When you do that, and you solely only decide to do that, you're not picking who you think is going to be best. You're picking who you think can succeed in a predetermined area. So depending on the job, you're making a determination. It's like, well, based on the things in the past, this is what's going to happen moving forward. It's loyalty. Yes, it's loyalty, but you also don't know what's going to happen. 15 different things can go wrong, and just because you know someone doesn't mean they're going to be able to succeed. The Eagles thought they had a successful person in Mike Rowe, and they assumed because he did one thing successful, he could do a second thing successful. It's the same thing with Brian Johnson. He was a very successessful quarterbacks coach. They thought he could be offensive coordinator. It was the same thing with Alex Tanney, or whatever his name. Nick Foles.
That's the same thing. They thought Alex Tanney could take over and be the QB coach versus what he was last year.
Yeah. Well, those are good points. I think it also, though, it has been a case where, ironically, we have let coaches go, assistants go, and they've been successful coordinators elsewhere. Right. I mean, Marcus brought it up. Denard Wilson, had him in the building.
He wanted a job. He definitely
wanted the job,
and the players wanted him too. That's the other thing. The players really wanted him.
That's my favorite part. The guys who we should have kept in the building, we told Hit Brick Jr. The guys we shouldn't have kept in the building. All right, come on down, baby.
Yeah. I just like this comment real quick. But I was like, here's the name to watch, Todd Monken. Anybody knows who that is? You really think we don't know who that is?
Yes.
Bill? I mean,
so I'm going to call this. I'll call it right now. Are you ready?
It's like he got hired as OC because we're talking about Lamar.
I'll call this right now. If they go out and get Todd Monken, they're not getting the Baltimore Todd Monken. They're getting the Browns Todd Monken. That's exactly what will happen, because for whatever reason, we are unlucky. That is the type of thing we would get.
And Denard, he wanted to come in here and change. He didn't want to run Fangio stuff. He wanted to run different.
Yep.
And the philosophy was just different, man.
Yeah. Another name to throw out there that I would be.
Bill said he was talking to the chat, by the way, not us.
Okay, good. Another name I want to throw in there that would be awesome is Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator for the Seahawks. You should see some of the stuff he does, guys. Cause you know me, I see a bunch of Seahawks tape because I watch Kenneth Walker. Yo, he's fun. He's another fun guy. So he would be interesting.
So my top two, because obviously we didn't do PY's 5 last week. I had Bieniemy, which we've talked about. I still like Kellen Moore, while he's not super popular in LA right now. Frank Smith.
Okay.
Clint Kubiak.
Yes, yeah.
And Joe Brady. What do the two of those 5 have in common?
I do not know.
Strong schemes, filled with creativity and open separation, a.k.a. a McDaniel scheme. Yes. No, we're not getting – it's just me running off. I would never be allowed on A2D radio ever again. Jake and Chucks would samurai honor death themselves.
PY would run out of people at 7.
No, I would not.
I didn't think I'd get this far.
That would be pizza.
Yeah. All right, so let's people in the chat, keep it going with the Eagle saga. I know we got a lot. If you want to talk about Sirianni, is he going to be fired? If you want to talk about Jalen Hurts, do you think he's at fault? If you want to talk about future coaching candidates, if we do fire Sirianni, keep going if you want to keep going. But we're going to transition now over to NFL because there were other games that happened this weekend.
Are you sure?
There were some very interesting outcomes.
Mhm.
I guess because us being Eagles fans, I guess the first game we need to talk about is the Cowboys' amazing loss to the Packers.
It's not even just like a loss. That was a mercy killing.
Yeah, they got
that
spanked.
was insane. And it's funny because Pete did mention, he talked about it last week when we were talking about previewing all the games that, hey, this Packers team, they're young and they're playing loose. They're playing with a lot of momentum. And they went into Jordan Love was spectacular.
Awesome.
Aaron Jones owns the Cowboys. He loves going home. And there's just so many storylines. So let's each go with like one quick takeaway we want to address from the Packers game. And I got a question too about, as kind of like as a consequence coming out of that. But yeah, PY, one quick take from that game that you want to mention.
So this is, they reminded me of a team just because they're so young and you just didn't expect them to be there. But once they got started, you couldn't stop them. Those young Kaepernick teams where they don't know any better. He's just wheeling and dealing, whether it's running, whether it's throwing, nobody gave them any chance. But you know what? They were balling. And just like Jordan Love was balling. Like he did not care. He was throwing that ball to wide open dudes 30 yards down the field, where the closest person near them was a referee.
Yeah.
Jake.
Packers do it again for the third straight time. 3 straight franchise quarterbacks.
They're 10-1 against the Cowboys, which is insane.
It's amazing. You get far. Well, and it's the same formula they did with Rodgers too, right? Rodgers sat behind Favre for what, 2 seasons, and then Love sat behind Rodgers for 3, right? 3.5, something like that.
It's something like that, 2 or 3.
And it's worked out, and you can tell Jordan Love's learned a lot from Rodgers because some of those throws he made, it looked eerily similar to.
It looks the same thing as Brett Favre used to do too. Like if
it's that jump throw that they do, that little quick jump throw.
Somebody put like the 3 of them doing it side by side, and it's eerily
crazy.
It's crazy how similar.
Crazy.
But I knew it the second they drafted them. I'm just like, yup, that's exactly what's going to happen.
But they're such a fun team. They're such a fun team to watch, and and that's the thing. They're young. They don't know any better.
Yeah.
So they're playing with house money right now. That's the thing too. They're playing with house money. So if they can listen, if I don't think it's going to happen by any stretch, but if they go into San Francisco and beat San Francisco,
oh my God.
All bets are off.
Imagine I tell you that Jordan Love goes, what do you go, 9-8?
I think, yeah.
Yeah. Imagine I tell you he goes 9-8 without Devontae Adams. Like,
yeah.
The thought alone is insane. Yes, they are the first 7 seed to ever win. I did not know that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Since the merger.
Since they expanded.
Right.
Expanded. There's just so much. Like I want to give my flowers to like Matt LaFleur. Amazing. Like, can you imagine?
I was just gonna say
he
that.
is a great coach. Like Matt LaFleur, the
Yep.
fact that he was able to steady the ship throughout the whole season and like keep those young guys. They're the youngest team in the NFL. Keep those guys together and just steady the ship and be like, hey, we're gonna figure this out. And to get to where they are, like phenomenal. Like he needs to get more like I guess you say recognition for being one of the best coaches in the league, honestly. But my main takeaway from that is from that game, I thought this was going to be an absolute shootout because I didn't think that Joe Barry's defense was going to be able to really stop the Cowboys. I mean, look, they lost to Tommy DeVito and the Giants. They were getting shredded by Bryce Young and the Panthers. So like Joe Barry was on the hot seat. Like I thought Joe Barry was going to get fired soon. So like I was really questioning that defense, but they came out and they absolutely put a stunner on that Cowboys offense. Like they played tremendous. Oh my God. So like they deserve a lot of credit. On the other side of the ball, it's so funny seeing all of the reaction from Cowboys fans, Cowboys media, like saying like, "Oh, this was our year." Like, and granted, maybe they legitimately felt that this was the best Cowboys team that they've had in 30 years. Maybe they legitimately felt that, and this was the best chance they had of getting to the Super Bowl because Dak was playing this was Dak's best year as a quarterback. Okay,
Yep.
CeeDee Lamb, best year so far. He's amazing. They have Micah Parsons. Everything. They had a great team in front of them. They all felt like this was the year. But the fact that it happened again, it's just you can't make this up. This is this is why we always say, and this is putting our Eagles colored glasses aside. I've always said you can no longer give them the benefit of the doubt. No matter how great they look in the regular season, something always just happens. It always just happens that they choke in the playoffs. It's amazing. It's like you really can't. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. So I want to let Don ask. Can I name all the Packers' young wide receivers? You got Jaden Reed, who I believe is their best wide receiver. You know, he didn't do
Christian
much.
Watson.
Christian Watson, Latavian Wicks, Romeo Doubs. That's the 4.
Bo Melton,
yeah. Rutgers. How can I forget a Rutgers?
And then you got
he played with Pop.
Yep. Oh, he did play with Pop. Yes.
Yeah.
He did play with Pop. That's right. Yeah. So Rutgers, yeah, Bo Melton. So yeah, those are the 5 that we can't name them. But so here's what I'll ask you guys because you've got well, Pete. Before I go to the question, we all went around and named one takeaway from the Cowboys-Packers game that stood out to us. So if you want to name one.
Packers know how to evaluate quarterbacks.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're like the Steelers. I was telling my dad, they're like the Steelers with head coaches. They don't miss.
Like if I'm a Packers fan and we draft a quarterback,
I'm chilling. Yeah,
I trust and believe.
Yeah.
Sure. So when is he going to join the Jets?
13 years from now.
Yeah, right. The toughest position to evaluate in all of sports, and their fan base can be like, all right, yep, we got it. We're good.
When you got to do it once every 20 years, you're probably prepared for it. Like,
yeah.
Like imagine I tell you, it's like, all right, you have 30 years to put one investment, and that's all you have to worry about for every 30 years. Mm-hmm. You'd be a G at it.
Yeah. Well, now they have a system. They did it with Rodgers, and now they did it with Love. They have a whole system now.
So whatever quarterback they do draft in 10 years, they're going to tell them like, this is what we do. Just sit.
You're going to sit for 2.5, 3 years, and then
and then you'll be great.
I know somebody who wasn't happy in New York.
What'd you say?
I said I know somebody who probably wasn't happy in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably is pissed like, oh well, maybe I should have listened to Matt and let him run his offense. Maybe.
Well, if they started Jordan Love in that game against the Lions last year, probably win, probably make the playoffs.
Maybe.
So okay. So here, this is the question that I want to pose to everyone, because this was brought up on ESPN morning shows, which I don't usually watch, but they got into a heated debate on this, and Dan Orlovsky had this stance and everything like that. So,
this question right here.
No.
Oh, okay.
So objectively speaking, again, all right, just put on NFL caps on. If you're a GM, you're an owner, right, of the Dallas Cowboys right now. Do you move on from Dak Prescott after this?
No.
Because there's no one like, even though Dak can't get you any further, like you don't have any major assets that you can use unless you're trading Micah Parsons or CeeDee Lamb. There's no huge draft picks you're really trading to get into the top to get like Drake May or Caleb Williams or one of those other guys. Like it's just not happening.
But
this should be fun.
If I'm Jerry Jones, I'm 81 years old. Clock's ticking. And you want to win another championship before you head on out of here. From a logistics standpoint, I wouldn't do it, but Jerry, he might. I don't know.
Yeah, Tim has a point. Like, you can't get rid of him.
Tim has a good point.
There's no trade.
Well, okay, so let's work under the assumption that he removes a no trade clause.
Yeah,
that he's willing to. Yeah. So that's
who are you trading him to? That is gonna like salivate over?
You're gonna get 2-3 first-round picks for him.
So you're saying there's no team that would want?
Oh, there's teams all over the league that'll take Dak.
At his current contract, is he a free agent after this year, or
someone will take him?
Someone will take him.
Someone will definitely. Let me look at his contract. Let's see.
I don't know, Pete. Did you want to go before I go?
What for? I don't think they should move off of Dak. No, I think they need a true number 2 wide receiver. I would move on from McCarthy before I would move on from Dak. Once again, I'm just following the money, man. Like, you got too much money tied up in this dude, and he's proven to you for whatever he needs, that motivator that will just kind of get him over that hump. He needs his Ben Johnson.
Yep.
So I will be the lone detractor. If it were up to me, I blow it all up, and that would be including. So I would absolutely fire.
Have they haven't re-signed CD yet? Have they?
No,
not yet.
So I would absolutely blow it up, and that would include the coaches, the coordinators, and yes, I would get rid of Dak Prescott. And here's my argument, okay? Because what Dan Orlovsky, pretty much what he said, like, I was like, that's a very good point. All right, so we all agree that we don't think Dak. We've seen it now, like over his past several playoff performances, his performances have gotten worse and worse and worse. Okay, we all agree on that, right? Like, he's getting worse in these playoff performances, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we just said he had the best year of his career. Do any of us honestly think that Dak Prescott could get any better than what he is now?
No. Can get better?
Can he get better?
Possibly, but his value won't get higher than what it is.
Okay. I don't think he's getting any better. I think this is peak Dak.
Okay.
This is as best as we've seen him. And Robert Mays pointed out who's Robert Mays from The Athletic is he's a big Dak fan. But as I was listening to him, he was like, Dak is like a tier 3 quarterback. He's not someone who's going to be able to create anything. Like, he's not someone in terms that we say in scouting, and you know it, he's not someone you can win because of. I don't know. Mm-hmm. He's someone you can win with, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if this is the best you can expect Dak to be, right? And you don't think he can be the type to win in the playoffs for you, why would you continue forward if that's your standard? Like, if Jerry Jones is getting old, he's like, I need a championship.
Ooh.
Why would you continue with Dak if you do not believe he is going to get any better?
Right.
You like you said, Pete, his value is at the highest right now. There are teams that would absolutely kill to have Dak, because there are teams that if Dak goes to another change of scenery, maybe he can shake some of that, that stigma off of not performing well, or maybe they can build a better team around him than what the Cowboys can, because now they're going to be in salary cap hell. They have to resign so many players, let players go, right? So that is what I'm saying is, like, I agree with Dan. Like, I will blow it all up. I would trade Dak because I don't see a future. I don't see him winning a Super Bowl in Dallas. I don't. I think you've gotten what you've gotten. And you can, if you want something to change, if you're Jerry Jones, you want something to change, it has to be a monumental blow up, and you have to be like, I've had enough. This is going. We're changing everything. We're changing everything. So that's my stance. That's my honest to God stance, because you can get a lot for Dak. You could get a lot for that. So you can build really, really well with those assets that you get for Dak.
Building on that, I do like Don's point. Dak to the Falcons. That would be an interesting move. But let's just say if you want to get a new quarterback with a lot of talent in here, you trade Dak You use those assets to move up to number 1, and you draft Caleb.
Can you move up that far?
So you would have to get a package back for Dak, then with your own pick, move up to get the number 1 pick from Chicago.
Right. I'm just throwing shit at the wall, but
I mean,
you have. I'm just saying, like, if you just move on from Dak, you get the picks. You basically swap Dak. You get Caleb Williams. The weapons are still there. So I'm just wondering if that would be.
So what would you get? So what do you think? What would you get a 1 for that? Do you think a team would give you a first round pick for that?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. I think you can at least get 2 for Dak. I would think, based on the year he just had.
The year just had, yeah. I think you can get at least 1. You can get at least 1.
Definitely 1. Yeah.
Tim said it. That's for a reason.
This is true. This is very true.
I mean, if I'm them, I'm moving on. I'm not re-signing Trayvon. I'll probably move. If I know for certain I'm not going to re-sign Micah, I'll probably be moving from Micah and moving from Dak. The only 2 pieces I'm keeping is the only piece I'm keeping is CD. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know, man. After the way they were looking and acting around each other in that playoff game, I don't know if he's in a rush to resign.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. That
was
whole thing
weird.
was weird. It was really weird.
It's one thing if you're just not on the same page, a few drops here and there. They did not look comfortable. And there's
weird.
one thing that was automatic all season is their connection. CD was mean mugging him, man. Like, his body language was bad.
It was crazy to see. But that's the thing. It's so weird. Like, they were on the same page all season, and then all of a sudden they're not. Like, it's just this stigma with the Cowboys. You can't really explain it. You can't. It just happens. This stuff just happens for them. It's insane. But moving on from that game. Before we go to anything else from the other games of Wild Card Weekend, and I mean the other game that really stood out to me obviously was the Texans Browns. Oh my God, CJ Stroud. We're talking about young QBs. CJ Stroud is the future. He is a superstar.
It blows my mind.
Delicious.
It blows my mind how good he is. And I don't feel comfortable. I feel dirty saying he's a rookie because he doesn't play like a rookie whatsoever. He just looks like a comfortable vet that's just been here forever, and it's amazing. It's amazing to watch.
Yep.
That team and then they're just going when Tank Dell comes back. I mean, no, who was the one that he was the one that got hurt, right? So when he comes back, and then now they had the cap space. I mean, listen. What's scary is think about this: they have cap space, right? Even if they don't go get IU, maybe they get Higgins. I really don't think they need Higgins because Nico's there, but surely trust and believe. I know Dameon Pierce is good, but if you got a chance to go get Saquon,
oh my God, that would be so much fun.
That was.
Just remember, the Texans have more playoff wins since 2000 than the Cowboys.
What is their cap space this all season? Hold on.
I don't know.
That's amazing. The best game was probably Sunday night. That was the most competitive game.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah. I mean, and
great
then
game.
Is this the end of Cooper Kupp, bro? Honestly,
I don't know.
I still think he's just not.
Crazy.
He's just not healthy enough.
They have $74 million.
I think you have to see next year how he looks. But yeah, it could be another Michael Thomas situation where they hit a peak and then just injuries.
Real quick, the Houston Texans have $74 million going into free agency.
Good Lord.
And it's not like they have vets that they have to pay.
And that's before they get into adjusted cap space.
Yeah. And the cap's probably going to go up too. So there's also
God, they are going to be active in free agency.
They're going to make the Bears' stupid money last season seem like $1.
Right, it's crazy how the Bears, in a way, for the first 12 games of the season, look like all the money that they put into it was for nothing, and then the defense came around, and then they could to be in this position to where you got the first overall pick, you could choose to take it, you could choose not to take it, and then you could choose to trade it off for a ransom because of who you got there, and still get like an MHJ and go get a lineman. You can go get this. It's just like you in a grocery, like you in a store, you can just pick what the hell you want. And honestly, the reason why Houston is so good right now is because of the Deshaun Watson trade. They turned that trade into everything that they have right now.
They hit on every pick.
So people tried to say that like the things that they got back weren't anything special. Like here's the thing. Here's why it doesn't matter if they're super special guys. Like trading away Watson and being bad enough to go get Stroud. Everything else does. They don't need home runs at every pick. All those picks are all a part of it. It's all about together fitting the puzzle. Like all the pieces are fitting together to create the perfect puzzle. You don't need a home run every time. You know what I mean? They all work and gel as one because you're getting something from every single player that you drafted. Like whether it's a Tank Towel, whether it's Damian Pierce, whether it's like all these guys, like even Will Anderson's really good, but like you don't need him to be a 10-sack guy immediately. He's contributing. Like they're all these guys that they have, they're contributing. And adding to the fact that like you have that guy in CJ Stroud, he is the most important piece right now. Everything else are just complimentary, and that's all you need. Like it's not sexy, but it doesn't have to be.
Right coach, right OC, right mindset, young talent.
We will get to. I think one of our upcoming shows soon. We'll talk about the whole Bears and Justin Fields situation. That's a whole thing. We will probably need like a half an hour to 45 minutes on. So we'll not dive into that. But real quick, just quick exercise before we get into PY's 5. I'm gonna name off quarterbacks. You tell me who you'd rather have moving forward. Okay.
From an Eagles perspective or just overall?
No, overall. Who would you rather have as a quarterback moving forward? Obviously we know Patrick Mahomes is one. Okay. Yeah. Lamar Jackson or CJ Stroud?
I still say Lamar.
Long term shit.
Moving forward. Take money out of it. Just play around. Okay. Take money out of it. Play around. I say Lamar.
It's so close, bro, because Lamar still does when he runs, he does that as an elite level. Yeah. But if it's any more than 4 years after that, I probably would have to go CJ.
That's probably where I would go.
Long term, I think CJ. But like right now, I would do Lamar.
Yeah, moving forward. Okay. So I'd say Lamar.
He's going to be a two-time MVP and possible Super Bowl winner this year.
Yeah.
Okay. CJ Stroud or Joe Burrow?
Joe,
yeah.
Stroud.
Okay.
I'm not there.
Stroud. Yeah, I could be. Maybe I'm just way too high on Stroud right now. Maybe it's recency bias, but like, and you guys know I love Joe Burrow. I rank him over. I love Joe Burrow, but I'm enamored so much. CJ Stroud or Josh Allen?
Allen.
Ooh.
CJ Stroud.
Allen. I damn near would take Allen right now over Patrick Mahomes. That's Allen.
No, never.
I know you would. You've been on that. You've been on that.
Give me actually a question. Which Josh Allen am I getting? Am I getting the first half of the season, Josh Allen?
One that just
am I getting the second half of the season?
55 yards through everybody. That one.
I think the variance, Josh's variance, is what kind of scares me. That's what I would do.
He could be at both ends of the spectrum.
Yes,
he can win you games, and he can also lose you games.
Yeah. That's the thing with you. But I love Josh Allen too, though.
Josh Allen ain't nothing but white kid.
Josh Newton.
That's phenomenal.
Okay, just a couple more.
No.
A couple more.
Even when Cam was as wild and crazy as he was on the field, he was never as dumb as Josh Allen. It was like, quadruple coverage, get the ball in there. It's someone's there.
Cam did that a bunch. Cam did that all the time.
Like, not like Josh does.
Cam did the same thing. Cam did the same thing.
Cam did the same stuff.
Cam did the same stuff. Cam was wild back in the day.
I understand he was wild. I just don't think he was as wild as Josh does.
He was pretty wild. He was pretty wild.
Cam would throw a stupid interception. He would. He's like, "Oh man, why'd you make that throw?" He's not looking at like 4 dudes on one guy and be like, "Yeah."
I don't think Cam. I really like Cam Newton. I don't think his ceiling was.
He looked like a freaking genius.
His ceiling was never as high as Josh Allen. Josh Allen was.
Josh has to hit that
ceiling.
Quick. You know, you can say what about Cam. He hit it.
CJ Stroud. This is the last one we'll do. CJ Stroud or Jalen Hurts.
CJ Stroud. I said what I said.
I said what I said. CJ Stroud.
Yep.
I would take. Fuck. I thought you were gonna go somewhere else with it because there's one more out there.
I knew exactly where he was going because
there's one more.
The last one, I knew where he was going.
I still say Jalen because I still believe in him. I still believe he can be a.
Oh, I do too.
Yeah, it's nothing against Jalen.
He can be a top 3 player. Like I really like CJ right now. He has broken everything I've ever believed in an Ohio State quarterback. And I've been consistent.
You do have that bias, so you do admit it.
For good reason. When have I ever said I don't have it? But I'm also the reason why I have it with Fields is that he went to Ohio State. He also does nothing but stupid thing after stupid thing that drives me crazy. But there's none of that with Stroud.
I probably would take CJ because
he throws it effortlessly and he doesn't turn the ball over.
It's insane. CJ.
I thought you were gonna go CJ or Justin Herbert.
Oh, CJ
all day. Are you kidding me?
All day. Everyone else like Justin Herbert, Trevor Lawrence, Jordan
like the
Love,
Bratz version
to
of
me.
Ken.
To me, it's easily CJ Stroud. I wanted to name guys who it's going to be really tough to decide between, but I think they're all like bunched up in like a similar tier.
Right.
That's why it's so close between all of them. But interesting. I just wanted to throw that out. I thought it was a really good exercise. All right, so PY, we didn't have this last week. Let's do it. Let's get to it.
Oh, Don, why would you do that?
What did he say? Let me see it.
Puka or AJ Brown for the next 3 years? AJ. Give me AJ. Yeah.
You would have said 5.
All right,
it's something about Samoans and being physical, bro. I don't want to fight those dudes at all.
I would. No. You can shoot me right where I stand before I get in any physical altercation with a Samoan.
Yeah, no shot. No.
Or that or wrestling a Russian, which I did once, and it was the most painful experience of my life.
All right, hold on.
You don't know the fear until someone's like, "Hey, that's your opponent." I'm like, "What's his name?" Vlad.
I don't even think Vlad can mess with a dude named Halapuli Lativata.
I don't know.
Samoans is a different
breed.
It's a different breed.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, this guy.
Chuck's quit on me.
Chuck's got kicked out. Let's see if he pops back in. If he pops back in, we'll bring him back.
Can we just say it didn't happen any other time other than PY's 5.
Bill, so he says Josh Allen has been elite for 8 years, has done well. I mean, we were asking a question if you would take CJ Stroud over Josh Allen. That's the paraphrase. And I kind of took a left because I'm higher on Josh Allen more so than most. But
has he been elite for 8 years, or was he elite for that 1 year, but good for the other years?
He's been good, and he was elite for that 1 year.
In 2020, he would Nick Wright talks about this all the time. People get mad at him, but he's been consistent on Josh. In 2020, he was elite from start to finish. All the other years, he was just good.
Right. No, but I'm saying like that year and these last 7 games with Joe Barry, ever since that switch, he's getting back to that elite status.
All right. Sorry, I got somehow my laptop kicked me out. But
okay.
All right, PY, what is the topic?
5 things Howie should have put more thought into.
Ooh, okay.
So
should have done. Just put should have done.
No. Because everyone
he's going around the room.
I'm going to explain.
No.
Because if I just said 5 things he would have done, you'd be like, he should have taken Brian Branch. He should have taken Kyle Hamilton.
It's your list. You dictate what's on the list.
I understand that, but that's all people are going to say. So
they're going to criticize your list regardless.
I'm not criticizing anything. When I put this into effect, I'm doing this with the lens cap of what Howie Roseman does in general. And
your
I went off of
don't
that.
even believe you right now. You lagging.
Yeah. So I went off of this of like thinking how Howie would think, but I just went a different route.
Okay.
God, okay.
So number 5.
Okay. Go ahead.
Number 5.
Kaiser White.
What?
Who's hurt now, by the way?
Okay, I understand. Let me get to my thing. So they went into this season with a thought process because obviously you can't get TJ Edwards. He was done immediately. He was off the board. You put too much faith in Nakobe Dean, and you just said to yourself, you know what? It doesn't matter. We'll go get some dude off the street. You know what would have been really helpful this year? Having someone who already knows the system, having someone we've seen success in this system, and having someone that Nakobe could continue to learn from in Kaiser.
Could he learn how to stay healthy? That's all I want to know.
Sure.
Could he learn how to be actually good?
Yes.
He was
I
bad
think he's
enough.
decent. He just can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
So. No.
He's just going to go.
Number one is like, no, you figured
number
me
one
out.
is Chauncey. Number 1 is Chauncey Gardner.
Not even on the list.
Go ahead, BY. Go ahead.
Wide receiver 3.
That's a good one.
In
That's
general,
a very good one.
They went into this and they're like, I really believe in Quez Watkins. The Super Bowl was a misnomer. You know, he's shown us he's good. Even though there were guys in the draft, even though there were guys in free agency, even though you could have gone out and you got DeAndre Hopkins, which would have put this wide receiver room over the top. Oh, you know what? It doesn't matter. We're going to get Julio Jones. He's going to help us. You know, if you put real thought into wide receiver 3 and getting a real adult in this room, I think it would have helped us, especially in the stretch, and especially when we were down A.J. Brown in the playoff game.
Mm-hmm. Well, he's a free agent now, so.
This is true.
Yep.
So, this is another one. Safety malfeasance.
What?
So they completely botched the safety room, in my opinion. Like,
wait, what is the word that you brought?
He said malfeasance. It's like safety. Like he just didn't put thought into it like that.
Like there's no.
How the hell do you spell that? MALF.
Malfeasance.
Pedance. Pedence. PEDENCE.
He said feedance.
Did you say pedance or bedance?
Yeah, malfeasance.
Oh, malfeasance. Like pheasants?
No. No, it basically means you're putting absolutely zero thought into it. So when they went to this
safety, what is this awareness? Layman's terms.
No awareness whatsoever.
It's lack of safety awareness.
Yes.
That's
so when they went into this year, they
found that word out, Scrabble, bitch.
Yeah, right. I've been playing with the world's greatest Scrabble cheater my whole life, man. I better.
Scrabble cheater.
My old man was making up words like he was Tolkien in the 40s.
Oh my god! All right, go ahead. Safety.
So
malfeasance.
You headed into this season and you had one really good safety that you felt comfortable in. Reed Blankenship, chalk dog, man. He had a really good season, and there's like things to be proud of with him. But third round pick. I really like Sidney Brown, and I think he's going to be really good. But like putting too many eggs in that basket is bad. Putting eggs in Terrell Edmonds' basket was bad. When you had someone you had developed who was solid, who you could have had another year in the system and still develop Sidney Brown, and you would have had a solid 3-man rotation when it comes to safety, letting Marcus Epps walk for pennies.
I agree. I mean, I don't think no one's going to disagree with you on this one.
Yep.
And he's a captain on the Raiders, too. I didn't even know that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was homegrown. Like, he was a guy who worked his way up. And why keep a homegrown guy?
I was one of the ones saying, like, I don't feel comfortable having only Reed Blankenship as your top safety. Like, so I agree with that.
I remember last year when they said who's going to be a breakout defensive player. I said Marcus Epps. I got laughed at.
Yep. All right, number 2.
Defensive scheme over talent. So, at the end of the season, we were all like, please, for the love of God, get Jonathan Gannon out of here. And there are a lot of options that we could have got Denard Wilson, we could have got anyone. Like, we like Desai, right? But there was one guy that we could have gone out and gotten, if not for Sirianni's pride, if not for Sirianni's belief in defensive schemes, if not for Howie Roseman's belief in the Fangio way. If we could have just agreed with his vision and ideas, I think this defense would have been in a better place. Michigan's Jesse Minter. If you watched Michigan this year at all, there's one thing you saw: creativity, dominance, good pass rush, and just they looked like they were ready to play from top to bottom. And just imagine him on this Eagles defense leading it with such creativity and intelligence.
Might be a name they look at.
Not if they value scheme over talent.
Yeah, that's true.
They value control over.
Yes,
they value control over talent. They want, for whatever reason, they just want that. Like, they want that control. Like, if I'm a head coach and I'm interviewing coordinators,
you bastard.
If I'm interviewing coordinators, why do I need? Like, it's cool if the owner and the GM want to be in there, but like, I gotta coach this shit on the field. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta work together every day. I don't need you making the final decision on this dude I'm gonna work hand in hand with. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's not the way that they've been, and then the problem is they've been successful at it to a point to where they went to a Super Bowl, they won a Super Bowl, and went to another one in the last 6 years. So you can't say it doesn't work. But the thing is, when it works. It's so good. But then when it's bad, it's so bad. Like the ebbs and flows of this organization is just like, it doesn't have to be all good or all shit. Like, it just has some consistency. And you would think they would learn from that, because when they did have that consistency and that even keelness, that's when you had Andy Reid for 12 years.
Yep.
All
right, number 1, buddy.
It's amazing.
Promote from within, die from within.
You really want
You think this YouTube P.R.R. Martin, bitch? You writing the next Game of Thrones book? What the fuck?
Die from within.
So, at the end of the season, we all looked at it and we all said, you know what? We gotta, and I mean gotta. Brian Johnson, it just makes the most sense. He had success with Kyle Trask in Florida. He knows Jalen like the back of his hand. Like, this closeness together is going to work. When it's going to be the determination of whether or not it's going to be right or wrong. But I think the biggest issue was the fact that we just made the decision to promote within without looking elsewhere. There were other options. We could have looked literally anywhere and interviewed them, and I think we probably would have been in a better place, because we could have at least compared the two and be like, all right, cool. This is Brian's philosophies. Let's see how they fit. we have this other person's philosophies. Let's see how they fit. They just said, you know what? F it. Brian Johnson's down there somewhere. And once again, that is the issue with this team, is that they're just like, you know what? It's easy. Let's do that. Like, they refused this offseason to make any difficult decisions.
It was like, go get Brian out of his office, yo. You wanted to see me, sir? Yes.
I did not defeat Vlad. Vlad threw me around like a rag doll. I had to crack my neck back.
Y'all stupid.
Had to get me a fight a second rush, and I'm like, nope, I'm going home, dog.
Oh my god.
All right, real quick, great list, people. I made the best one yet. Let's run down. Let's pick these winners, and we'll get up out of here. So Saturday we got 4:30 game. I believe is that the
let me
Texans?
see. Hold on.
Is that Texas Ravens?
Let's see. Hold on. Texans Ravens 4:30 Saturday.
And then I mean, yeah, I think that the defense, they haven't seen that anything like the Ravens defense yet.
Mm-hmm.
Tough environment. They haven't played a quarterback like they have with Lamar yet. Yeah, I got to go Ravens in that one.
Yeah, I'm going Ravens too.
PY?
You know what? I'm gonna be a contrarian. I'm gonna bleed my Ohio State red. I gotta believe in the OU, baby. CJ Stroud.
It's Ravens.
All right.
Ravens.
8 o'clock, we have San Fran Packers in San Fran. And I'm starting to call them the Santa Clara Niners because they don't even play in
Santa Clara Niners, yeah.
The Santa Clara Niners.
Not anymore.
Yeah, man.
You got to go with the love. You got to let the love.
I want to so bad. They don't have enough of a pass rush, bro. I don't know where the pressure on the quarterback is going to come from. I don't think they're going to be able to confuse Purdy like that to where Kyle won't have some sort of answers. Mm-hmm. And then Dallas, for what they were able to run the ball somewhat effectively on Green Bay. And we all know what Shanahan wants to do. I just think it's going to be too much for him. I think both number one seeds move on.
Yep. Same.
Niners. Sunday we got, is it 1 o'clock? Is it 3 o'clock? It's 6 o'clock? It's 3. 3 o'clock. We got Bills Chiefs at 3. Or you got you got Bucks and Lions.
Bucks and Lions.
Baker Mayfield gonna complete the script.
Nah, I think the magic runs out for Tampa Bay, man.
Yeah,
I got the Lions. I got the Lions big in that game, probably.
I gotta go with my boy Baker Mayfield.
I can't let Don down now. He can
wait.
I got
the Lions.
He can wait 7 more days.
Yeah, I got the Lions.
Yeah, I'm going Lions.
PY, you commit to it, Lions or Tampa Bay?
Bucks.
Jesus Christ.
Why'd you back us so far from the screen?
I don't know if you watched during that game. You started to see a swaggy Baker Mayfield, and that is a dangerous Baker Mayfield. When he's feeling himself, when he's doing the guitar, when he's doing like he is feeling himself, that man walks on water when he like that.
I mean, if they don't drop passes,
sure.
But I mean, I don't know, man. I don't. We'll see. It could be a good one. I don't know what the spread is, but I like the Lions. And then closing out divisional weekend, Bills Chiefs in Buffalo, 6:30. Patrick Mahomes' first playoff game on the road. Listen, I said this earlier. Chiefs going home, Bills all day. They don't have an answer. Now, what could help them is the fact that Buffalo is probably now on their 4th or 5th string linebacker now. Jesus Christ.
Like
I can't. Oh my God.
They just keep having injury after injury. So that could come and play, but I expect the Bills. I do see the Bills coming out to win that game. I just think better offense. Kansas City actually may have the better defense in that game, but I mean, Josh Allen's playing out of his mind right now. So,
I'm going the Chiefs because there's never been a world where Patrick Mahomes isn't in an AFC Championship game.
You're about to be in one.
I don't think I will. I don't think I'll ever live in that world.
And the Chiefs are on the road, right?
Yep.
Chiefs on the road, yeah.
Every playoff game that the Chiefs have won with Patrick Mahomes,
it's been at home.
Been at
home.
So.
Yep.
I am going to go Bills.
Yeah, Bills.
Yeah.
So I got all home. I got all home teams.
So we got one.
That means
we got what? Santa Clara, Detroit in the NFC Championship game. Bills, Ravens in the AFC Championship game. Should be some good ones if the games play out like that. But that's going to be it for us tonight, fam. We thank you for rocking with us. You guys were in the chat lively. We appreciate it as always, and we'll see what the Eagles do. For OGP, for Chuck's over here, for PY, for Jake down there. They all switched because Jake was over here before.
Yeah.
This has been Birds of a Feather, brought to you by ATD Radio, brought to you by Alonzi Travel, specialized in creating a vacation in your dreams at Disney Universal, wherever your heart calls to you. Let the talented team of travel experts create a custom vacation just for you. And if you're playing where you just want a cheeseburger or a hamburger with just the patty and the bun, nothing else, then PY is your guy, or plain rice cakes. But outside of that, we keep bringing you some spice and delight every Tuesday night. We are about to here. Peace.